First of all, I want to start with apologising. This video is a little bit late. I got married, so I've been a little bit preoccupied. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not really. I sort of switched off from West Ham just for a day or so after the Palace game. I watched it, obviously. I've rewatched it back to do this video. I'm actually more annoyed the second time I've watched it. I really am frustrated with that performance. We were really poor. And it's really strange because it's in a game where you score 3 goals away from home. You'd think that, we played well. You'd think, oh, it's fair enough. And I know people say, for me, the 3 goals have masked a really poor performance. I thought we were really lethargic, tired, slow. At no point in that match, not at any period, did we play or have any control or look like we were on top. It was just a really scrappy, slow performance. And despite the we'll talk about the penalty decision in a minute, but despite that decision, which was a bad one, Palace fully deserved to win that game. We didn't deserve anything out of that at all. I thought we were really, really poor. And what's frustrating me more with it is that it's avoidable. You look at that game and you think to yourself, well, West, why are we playing players that are clearly absolutely exhausted? Why is David Moyes not utilising the squad depth that he's got? I don't understand it. A part of me does. I'll say that there's a little part of me that's got a slight bit of sympathy, and that is that if you're looking at the fixture list, coming up, you're going, right, I've got Crystal Palace and I've got Man City, then Man United. You're probably looking at the Palace game, arguably to say, well, that's probably our best chance to get some points. So that's why I'm guessing that was probably the thought process behind that. But at the end of the day, these players are absolutely dead on their feet. We've got a Europa Conference League semi-final coming up. We've not lost Kurt Zouma now, probably for the rest of the season. I mean, I don't know. X is going to provide an update later on Patreon on this situation. But ultimately, this is a really, really bad situation for West Ham because the players are exhausted. And we've got a manager that's just, he has his trusted team. He has these players. He doesn't want to change it up. Look, my point is, for a fact, that against Manchester City, Bowen will start, Antonio will probably start, Rice will start, Paqueta will start, Soufal will start. The same players will all play again. And arguably now they need resting. You need to start resting these players. You've got to start rotating. And I just think that was a consequence of the lack of rotation in our team. Palace was so much fresher. They were energetic. But I'm really annoyed. I'm so annoyed with that performance because, again, it's watching us against a team with pace in it. It's so painful to watch. It's just they just outrun us all the time. We didn't get any second balls. It was a really, really frustrating performance, and I'm very annoyed about it. And they wanted it more, Crystal Palace. I actually think they wanted it more. They looked hungry. They looked really up for it. David Moyes alluded to this at the end of the game as well. About the players being exhausted. It just winds me up. It really infuriates me that he's even admitting that the players are shattered. Well, then why are you playing them? You know what I mean? Like, rest the centre halves. You've got Kira on the bench. You've got Bonner on the bench. You've got Max Cornet. You've got Flynn Downs. You've got players available that can come in and play and be at a good standard and can come in and do a good job. I don't understand why you're insisting on playing the same players week in, week out. 3 times in a week. And expecting us to do well out of it. It really, really wound me up. A few points I want to talk about. First of all, I've mentioned it already, the penalty. Never, ever a penalty in my eyes. A ridiculous decision, again, from VAR. But I don't want to take that away and make it sound like I'm saying, well, had that not been the case, we'd have got a result. I don't think we would have done. I know people will say, well, yeah, but it would have been 3-3, but I think the Palace probably would have hunted the game out. They were miles better than us. They were miles better. And they fully deserved their victory. So I'm not putting it down. That's the reason we lost the game. But it does annoy me. It's 2 weeks now. With 2 games in the spin, we've had very bad decisions go against us. This VAR is just shambles. I can't stand it. Because I just don't understand it. It's not the technology that's the problem. It's the people that are operating it. That's my argument. You've still got these referees that just genuinely don't seem to understand football. They just don't get the game. How on earth you can deem that a penalty is ridiculous. But it is what it is. It's been given, and I'm not going to use it as an excuse. I'm just a bit annoyed. Unfortunately, this video is going to be a bit ranty, which I don't want it to be, but it just feels like it's going to be. Side Benrahma, I'm going to mention. Infuriating player at times. So frustrating with Benrahma because he always seems to play very well when we're collectively playing bad, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? It's like when we've been having a bad moment, he's sort of like been the shining star a little bit. And you go, oh, but early in the season, he was our best player. And lately, he's really dipped, really frustrating. And when I watched that game, I've been feeling like this ever since he's joined the club, that I always wanted Eze. He was the player, and that's the player Moyes apparently wanted as well. Eze was the number one choice, and my God, you could see why. He is levels above Benrahma. Benrahma, look, he is what he is. Okay, he's not a terrible player, and he can do things that are quite good. But some of the things he does wrong are really, really infuriating. And what's really infuriating as well with it, more than anything, is that he seems to have been just recently be getting the trust of David Moyes. Moyes has always been calling him out. He always doesn't want to play him. And all of a sudden now he seems to be one of his first choice players. And now he's letting Moyes down. Really, I mean, really, really annoyed with Benrahma. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on Benrahma. I mean, I don't want to be calling players out, but he does wind me up a lot. Some of the decision making is just atrocious for a player of his level. He's a Premier League footballer, an international player, and some of his decisions. I mean, his crossing is so bad sometimes. And what winds you up more with it is we know how good a crosser he can be. We've seen it before. Some of his accurate crosses are unbelievable. And then you see him play against Palace. I mean, it was a really bad game for Benrahma. I wasn't impressed with him at all. Obviously, now we've got the Zuma injury, as I've touched on. X is going to provide an update, but it doesn't look good. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to be out for a while with an ankle injury. He looks like he's rolled it. Look, I'm not putting that down to fatigue. He rolled his ankle. That's not down to David Moyes, but it does bring you to sometimes thinking, well, why didn't you just rest him today? He's played too many minutes, David. You need to start resting players. Really, really frustrating. The only positive, though, there is a positive from that game, was that our set pieces seem to now be back at a level where they were, a couple of years ago or a year or so ago. We do seem to be getting better at our set pieces again. Bowen's crossing was excellent. I was really impressed with that. And I thought Souček actually had a really good game. I thought I actually think he was one of our best players against Crystal Palace, which is very rare to say about him. But the reason he was because the rest of the players were exhausted. Rice looked exhausted. One of his poorest performances. But I don't blame him. I don't blame Declan for it. I blame the manager. Why aren't they having conversation before the game saying, look, I'm too tired. We need to start resting players. We've got critical games coming up this season now. Absolutely critical. West Ham are now going to be, this is the title of this video. This is going to go down to the wire. That's my frustration with this. I do think that we are now going to be safe, probably with 2 games to go. That's how I'm feeling about West Ham now. 1 or 2 games to go, which is really annoying because we've had a good little opportunity there with Liverpool and Palace. If we just won one of those games or even got a couple of draws, we'd be really comfortable now. But it's just typical West Ham fashion now. They're going to make life hard and drag us as fans over the line. I still think we're going to survive. I did say in a previous video I was 95% confident. That hasn't changed. I'm still confident we will stay up, but it's frustrating, really frustrating, I wouldn't say it's. I'm not worried by the performance. I'm frustrated with it. I'm frustrated at the fact that it could have been avoided. I think if we'd put some fresh legs out there, we could have probably got a better result. And I'm going to touch this in another video later on. I don't want to keep sort of being too negative about stuff, but this Danny Ings signing is frustrating as well. He's, again, another player. Got him in. He's not trusted. Moyes not utilising him. He doesn't fit our system. And yet he's one of our best paid players. I think he might be the highest. And that's really annoying. You look at it and just think, what have we signed him for then? What was the point? I actually do start thinking that we should start looking at Benrahma and promoting him through. I'd love to know your thoughts on that. What are your thoughts on Benrahma? Would you want to bring him through into the first team? I appreciate under 18 level and Premier League level are vastly different. I'm not suggesting that he's just going to come in and stroll in and do an amazing job. But you do think he's got a bit of power and pace. His towers up because of obviously the season he's had. And you just think, why not? You can't just keep relying on Antonio. Antonio is exhausted. Another player, I don't understand why he's not being rested. I don't understand what Moyes is playing him for every game. Sorry, this is a little bit jumpy all over the place, this video. I just feel like I'm really frustrated. So I've just watched the game back and I'm really, really wound up with it. these are games really when you look at, if we're going to stay up, we need to be getting points against these teams. And there's no disrespect for Crystal Palace. As I said, I actually thought Crystal Palace fully deserved that win. Roy Hodgson's done a very good job, to be fair to him, going back to that club. But it's basic football. It's not like you're playing Pep. You're not playing against teams that are, very, very complex systems and how they break teams down and how they link up play. This is quite basic stuff. And we're just undone by it. They were undone by pace and hard work and fighting for the ball. But that really winds me up when you lose games like that. You just think, well, we could have dealt with this. If the players are too tired, David, and they're not up for the challenge because they're just worn out, then just freshen it up. Freshen up the team and get some players in there with some fresh legs and say, look, this is going to be a battle today. And you've got more of a chance. But, I knew straight away, even though we went 1-0 up, I was pretty sure we'd lose that game. I could just sense it straight away. Palace were just far more energetic than we were, and we were, undone. So unfortunately, I know this is not the most positive video. I really do apologise. I don't want it to be too ranty, but I can't help it. It is just going to be that way, I'm afraid. And West Ham, we've got a few games to go now. We need one more win, and we'll do it. We'll get it. I'm pretty sure we will get that win. I'm actually got a slight confidence about me for Man United. I don't want to say it too loud, but I do. I've got a slight feeling we might do right that game. I just think at home against them, I think we might be all right. But maybe I'm just being a little bit too optimistic. But that's kind of my feeling. I do think we're going to get some more points in towards now and the end of the season. I think we'll be okay. But yeah, that was a frustrating one. And one that I'm just looking forward to forgetting about, really, much like this season.